The Hero Billboard charts is a listing of pro heroes ranked under several factors, such as the number of cases solved, general popularity, and level of social contribution. And those who make it into the top 10 are the best of the best, and usually have some sort of successful hero agency or were part of a recent major event. Examples being characters like Hawks or Best Jeanist. Though, of the top 10, only one has gotten as far as she has, being a complete free agent and single-handedly competing with those major corporations. This being the Lunar Rabbit hero, Rumi Usagiyama, also known as the pro hero Mirko. The bunny hero Mirko is ranked as the top 5th pro hero in all of Japan, and she accomplished this all on her own, being a self-built and self-promoted pro hero, and she doesn't belong to any single organization. Yet she maintains a presence all across Japan and solves enough cases to outrank pro heroes like Ryumiu and Kumui Woods. And this ability to keep up with her competition can be attributed to her overwhelming strength and talent as a hero, and her never-ending willingness to take on and finish risky jobs. Though before we get too into that, we should discuss the meaning behind her name and her design. So when Horikoshi made Rumi Usagiyama, he said he wanted to pack her character with all the things that he really liked. This included some fun references within her name, starting first with her family name, Usagiyama, which when broken down means Rabbit Mountain, which could be interpreted as she is the rabbit atop this mountain of pro heroes. Her character design also references the rabbit part of her name quite well, with her large natural rabbit ears along with her stereotypical love of carrots, and she has an early March birthday, which is a reference to the March hare. Along with this, she also has a hero costume that has a bunny tail on her rump and mechanical rabbit feet to aid in her kicking. Though speaking of kicking, her given name Rumi seems to be in reference to a female soccer player, Rumi Usagiyama, a Japanese midfielder who played for quite a few teams, but her crowning achievement is she helped lead her team to victory in the 2011 FIFA's Women's World Cup. Though this wouldn't be the only professional sports star, especially one known for their kicks, to be referenced by Rumi's character, as her hero name, Mirko, is a direct reference to Mirko Krokop, a Croatian mixed martial artist best known for his kick of death. Though Rumi's given name also works well with another one of her themes, that being the moon, as the Ru in Rumi is also harmonious with Runa, or more romanized Luna like lunar. And this is due to the ancient connection between both rabbits and the moon that dates back to old Chinese mythos, as during the Warring States period of China, a poem depicting a rabbit on the moon grinding medicine gained huge popularity, mostly thanks to the fact that the face of the moon actually looks quite similar to a rabbit using a mortar and pestle. And as time goes on and other Asian cultures adapt the story, it changes ever so slightly, though the only real changes is what the rabbit is making. He's either making mochi or rice cakes, but it's always a rabbit and they're always on the moon, connecting rabbits to moon. Along with this, the rabbit ended up being named the Jade or Golden Hare, which seems to be referenced in Rumi's name as well, as the name Rumi directly means lapis lazuli, which is a semi-precious stone similar to jade or gold at the time, so she, just like the gold or jade hare, is the lapis lazuli hare. Though some of her more physical rabbit connections come from her quirk, this being rabbit, a mutation quirk that gives Rumi rabbit-like anatomy such as her aforementioned rabbit-like ears, which do offer her excellent hearing as she's able to hear deep within a laboratory from the entrance to the lab itself. Along with this, much like Froppy's frog quirk, it allows Rumi to do basically anything a rabbit can do, but even better, as her legs have immense kicking and jumping strength, being able to bounce around a room with ease all the while beheading Nomus like they were nothing. Along with this, she's also able to land or kick with enough force to exhaust flame or even create shockwaves. She was even able to shred a shirt sleeve without even touching it. Along with this, she's also able to break falls and impacts with her legs, reducing damage significantly and allowing her to kick off and continue fighting. And the areas that she does jump off, she can cause serious damage to. Though, if she is fighting things that are less durable or she's not allowed to kill, she has ways of restraining herself from causing that damage on the kickoff. And because her quirk focuses mostly on her legs, she has created super moves around using them. Starting first with Lunar Ring. Lunar Ring is a super move where Rumi kicks off a target multiple times to build up speed and perform a cartwheel kick in the middle of the air air with her legs extended out. The power of this cartwheel kick is not only shown slicing apart anything that's in its way, as the impact from the kick cuts clean through high-end Nomus like butter, but also shown in a very meta sense, cleaving through the manga panels themselves, as she is literally taking full control of the pages that she's on. It's a very cool way to show how strong Rumi as a character really is. Along with this, the name of the attack seems to come from lunar halos or lunar rings, which is a visual phenomenon which the moonlight gets refracted by ice crystals high in the atmosphere and create the appearance of a ring or halo around the moon. Next you have Luna Fall, which Rumi swings her foot downwards onto a target, driving them along with her foot straight into the ground with one mighty kick. This can shatter through most defenses, as seen when she completely crushes a high-end defensive quirk with it. Now the name of the move itself directly translates to Falling Moon Kick and could be in reference to the impact of the moon from the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, as Horikoshi does like to make references to popular media he enjoyed before, especially video games and movies. Along with this move helps give her a platform to kick off and perform one of her last super moves, and this is Luna Tijeras, which is a modified pro wrestling move called the Head Scissor, in which Rumi wraps the head of her target with her thighs and then spins around and slams the target into the ground using mostly her lower body strength. Though, Rumi does have enough leg strength that she could just cleanly rip the head off a target if she needs to, as we see in her fight against a high-end Nomu. Though, besides her overwhelming strength, what makes Rumi so impressive is how she is able to fight through adversity and endure some extreme pain without losing focus, as seen best in her fight with that group of Nomus, specifically the high-end Nomus, as Rumi has her arm focused on by a miniature black hole quirk, which begins to tear and bend her arm. So, in response to that, she just rips it right off, not only preventing the black hole from slowing her down, but she beheads the Nomu who did it, and then when she lands, she just ties the arm off with her hair, preventing blood loss by slowing the blood flow to that severed arm, as she's not gonna let losing one little arm stop her from kicking a bunch of Nomu's asses. Rumi is a very resourceful and very quick-witted person, and this all stems from her personal outlook on life, as Rumi is not afraid to die. She lives life day by day, and this allows her to take on life and death situations with a big smile on her face, and the way that she approaches her hero work is evident of that, as Rumi is not part of any single hero agency. She doesn't tie herself down like other pro heroes to a single area to work in, and works all over the country, traveling from hotel to hotel and fighting villains where they are as she is. And this is because she feels risking her life for the greater good is the best thing that she can possibly do for the world, and if she dies, she'll do so without regrets. And I imagine this outlook on life thematically comes from growing up in her hometown of Hiroshima, a city that experienced firsthand the horrors of war and decided to pick themselves up, rebuild, and become the City of Peace, creating multiple peace-themed monuments such as the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park and Hiroshima Peace Museum, or even just the Peace Pagoda. Along with this, they've even worked to create international organizations like the Mayors for Peace, which reach out across the globe and work to help bring peace to the world in small parts. And this is very similar to how Rumi travels endlessly across her country in hopes of bringing peace to the world as well by fighting villains and coming to the aid of anyone in the town she's in when she sees news of things breaking out. Now hopefully we won't have to see her end, especially since Horikoshi mentioned that Rumi is one of his favorite characters, and saying that she combines a lot of his favorite elements together, becoming a character he loves to draw and could draw endless chapters of, but he needed to progress the plot, which I took more as he really likes drawing Rumi, but the next few chapters won't be focusing on her, but some have taken to be a hint that her end is coming near. But I don't really agree with those statements though. Though speaking of Horikoshi and his connection to Rumi, I feel like she reminds him of his past work before Hiroaka, that of course being Crazy Zoo, and the protagonist of that, Sheena, the crazy rabbit director of the zoo himself. And it wouldn't be the first time that a Crazy Zoo character has bled over into Hiroaka, though usually they become more of a direct thing, but in the case of characters like Hawks, and now in my opinion Rumi, I feel like they are more just heavily influenced by characters from Crazy Zoo instead of being one for one like Gang Orca or Uwambi. Some similarities between Rumi and Shia is they have a similar crazy look on their face when they're really enjoying a fight, and they're both fighting for peace peace in a sense, with Shinai's moves literally being called Rabbit Peace, and Rumi is a rabbit fighting for peace. Also, I wouldn't be surprised that if we're going to show more battle damage to Rumi, that she might get a chunk of her ear taken out in a future chapter to really hammer home the connection. Though with all that said and done, I hope Rumi continues to have more big moments in the series like we've seen in the past few chapters. I love watching her use her resourcefulness to overcome obstacles like the high-end Nomu's multiple powers, though I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say I feared for her mortality a bit, and I really hope that she does come out of this event at least alive, and maybe she has to retire, though the idea of her still working as a pro hero even without an arm, maybe even more battle damage, and her making some sort of prosthetic, maybe similar to Compress, excites me for the possible future of her character. Maybe an arm that can shoot carrot-like projectiles that can pin a villain down, or maybe like a Buster arm that sort of acts like a jet engine that allows Rumi to fly around in midair and readjust her kick. Something that matches her theme or aesthetic while also playing to her strengths. Though that's all for the future to decide, and until then, this is one tough bunny that you don't want to mess with. And if you enjoyed this video and want to support more videos like in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MetinotTheBadGuy. And if you want to do everything that a rabbit can do, but better, you can start by buying a copy of Shimonetta, A Boring World Where the Concept of Dirty Jokes Doesn't Exist at buyshimonetta.com.